Hello everyone, I'm going to go over how to answer the probability questions we did on Socrative. So I'm just going through, I'm going to kind of sort my information and then go through the laws of probability and how to solve this. So in cattle, brown fur is dominant over gray fur, and longhorns are dominant over short horns. One homozygous dominant cattle, so they're going to be homozygous dominant, so big B, big B, big B, big H, big H. So one homozygous dominant cattle with brown fur and long horns, and a homozygous recessive, so little b, for gray fur and horns. So this is then the mating. The two individuals from the offspring are then mated. So it's taking the pool from here and then mating them together. So you think about the genes that each of these have, only a big B can be donated from one individual, a little b from the other. Same thing for the horns. So this is then the offspring genotype. So you're going to be looking at this, not this cross at all. So the wording of that may have been poor, but again, the two individuals from the offspring are mated. What proportion of the offspring will exhibit long horns? So again, looking up here, long horns are dominant. So I'm looking for just one big H for my offspring, and gray fur. So I'm looking for two little b's. Assume the genes are on different chromosomes because they aren't linked at all. So that was just kind of saying not gene linkage. So these are the parents that I'm looking at. So again, what I'll do is one Punnett square at a time, a mono for just the letter B's. So big B, little b, same thing for the other individual, and then I just fill out my Punnett square. So I'm looking for how many are going to be gray fur, which is a recessive trait. So this is 1 out of 4. I'll then do the same thing now for horns. So big H, little h, big H, little h. So how many of the individuals then have big horns? It would be 3 out of 4. And these are then separate events now occurring together. So according to the laws of probability, I should multiply these two numbers together. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. 4 times 4 gives me 16. So my answer then for this is letter B. So it's going to be the same case where you're given the genotype of the parents, and then you need to figure out what the offspring will look like. Instead of doing the dihybrid, it's easier to do two separate Punnett squares and then multiply the probabilities together. So on to the next one. In pea plants, the green color is dominant over yellow color. So they're going to be using the G for uppercase if they have the dominant allele. And T, tall, is dominant. So I then assume, it's not written there, that short will be little t. Okay, so continuing on, parents, so a parent who is heterozygous for green color, so big G, and short, little t, is crossed with a homozygous recessive for color and heterozygous for height. So these are then the parents. What proportion of the offspring will be heterozygous for both traits? So I'm looking for just this combination. That is the offspring. So now I'm going to do two Punnett squares again. So big G, little g, and then I just fill it in. And I'll do the same thing for the height. So from one parent and the other. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is look for the proportion of offspring that are heterozygous for both traits. So I have 1/2 here for my G's that are heterozygous. Then I also have 1/2 here. Multiply those together. 2 times 2 gives me 4. 1 times 1 gives me 1. So that is how I get my answer. this one was just to make sure that you know that these events are separate. So I multiply the probability when the chance events occur together. So having 7 children isn't going to, being male, isn't going to influence the sex of the next child. And if you think about it, mom has an X to give or an X. Dad has then an X or a Y. So if you did that Punnett square to see what are the chances, so X, 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 Y, X, Y. So it's a 50-50 shot. And that's how you get letter C. I hope this helped. We'll continue to review probability before we take the quiz. Thanks. Have a great day.